Narrative theory is the way in which a story is told, whether fiction or non-fiction. Vladimir Prop was a Russian critic in the 1920s who believed it was possible to classify the characters and their actions into clearly defined roles and functions. This theory he had was applicable to the fairy tales he read in the 1920s, but wouldn't necessarily apply to all films and fictions of nowadays. My example of this is Watchmen. This is because Prop believed in 8 character roles that were reoccurring in story narratives: your hero, your villain, your donor, and so on. Now, when trying to apply these 8 character roles into the 6 main characters in Watchmen, only 2 of the 6, the Silk Spectre and Night Owl, fit into this hero role. This is because their actions and morals don't stray them outside of this boundary of being a hero. However, the comedian Rorschach, Dr. Manhattan, and Ozymandias all do have questionable morals and actions. For example, the comedian rapes and murders in the film, which is not heroic and puts him into the anti-hero type category. Similar to this is vigilante Rorschach, who despite his constant striving for justice has very barbaric tactics like hatchets to faces and chip fat to faces and bone saws and stuff. This moves on to Dr. Manhattan, the big blue one with the actual powers, who, even though he could do anything he wanted and sort the world out, chooses not to because he becomes very nonchalant throughout the film and doesn't choose to dabble in human relations. So he is neither a villain or a hero, he just is. And finally, Ozymandias, who is seen as the villain of the film, is just as much of a villain as every hero-type character is a hero, because his whole evil master plan is for the actual greater good of mankind. Intertextuality is riddled throughout Watchmen. All of the characters are based on other characters from superhero and hero graphic novels. They are very archetypal. Rorschach is based on Batman as a costume vigilante. However, in particular, Rorschach was based on The Question and Mr. A from the actual Charlton comics. Same goes with Night Owl, who was actually originally based on the Blue Beetle, however went on to be closer related to Batman. Particularly with Night Owl, this is shown through costume. This is in the movie in 2009. Even more so, in the title sequence, Night Owl actually, or the elder Night Owl actually saves Batman's parents from being killed. In this alternate reality, it seems so that Batman actually never becomes a thing. These are all satirical references by Alan Moore and eventually Zack Snyder to the lack of ingenuity when it comes to the genre. This is why Alan Moore originally made all of these characters archetypal, and the fact he made them was so that he could actually kill them off, as opposed to his other characters which were seen as more important at the time. Another form of intertextuality in the film is the latter point of the film where there's the Vietnamese War, where both the comedian and Dr. Manhattan kill Vietnamese soldiers on the side of the US Army. This is very closely related to the scene in Apocalypse Now with the helicopters and the sepia background and the audio track Ride of the Valkyries.